All right, so let's start this broadcast with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. Misinformation in this Israel-Gaza war is crowding out the facts. So let's take a look at the claims and the counter-claims that are being made in this war so far. In the latest, Israel has now released some unverified CCTV footage of what it claims is from Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital. In the video, the Israeli army claims that Hamas fighters brought in captured Israeli hostages for treatment inside the Al-Shifa hospital on the 7th of October. Now, the IDF spokesperson further presented two short videos along with several still images that reportedly show the Hamas fighters bringing in the captured Israeli hostages into Gaza's largest hospital for a medical checkup.
This is 7th of October, 10:55 a.m. The evidence I will share was sent by Israel to diplomatic channels to the countries of those civilians. Here you can see Hamas taking a hostage inside the vicinity. He doesn't look he even doesn't look need a treatment, but they're taking him inside the hospital. I will now share this video that shows the same hostage entering into the hospital with a gunman, terrorist, inside the hospital. This is the main entrance of the hospital.
Narrative. The Hamas from the Gaza Strip has rubbished the IDF allegations. It has questioned the authenticity of the videos and the still images that are being put out by the IDF, and they say that the pictures, if anything, they show hospitals in the Gaza Strip providing medical attention to anyone who needs it.
About the occupation and American statements. About having proofs that there are hostages for the occupation in Al-Shifa. We say it clearly. We took many hostages to be treated in the hospitals and get surgeries, especially when some of them were injured due to the occupation's airstrikes. We talked to our fighters so the hostages could get the best treatment in Gaza. We published many pictures about this. And now, the enemy leaders and the spokespersons for their army and the Americans are leveling false allegations against us.
However, the IDF spokesperson has dismissed suggestions that the hostages had been brought into the hospital because they were wounded, claiming that one of the two hostages was not injured at all and did not require any kind of medical attention. He further added that the people were brought to the hospital first before they were moved to a different hideout. Now, according to the Israeli forces, the unedited video purportedly shows Hamas using the Al-Shifa hospital facilities as an operational headquarters as well as a storage facility for their equipment. Now, this video that was put out by the Israelis that they claim is completely unedited. The military spokesperson enters into the hospital to present the evidence while pointing out that the security cameras had been obstructed by the Hamas fighters.
So we're inside the MRI center of the Shifa hospital. Israeli troops reached here a few hours ago, and we have cleared the area, make sure that it's safe. And a few of the most interesting things that we have found totally confirm, without any doubt, that Hamas systematically uses hospitals in their military operations in violation of international law. And what we have found, I think, is only the tip of the iceberg. Let me show you a few examples. Security cameras have been obstructed. All of the security cameras are covered, and this isn't the only one. You'll see the rest of them here. Follow me as we go in, and we will see the MRI center and see the weapons that Hamas has hidden inside.
Now, Israel also claims that Hamas has been using several other hospitals as a base for their operations. Now, in this particular bit of evidence, the IDF spokesperson showed footage from the Qatari-funded Sheikh Hamad Hospital in the Gaza city. And according to the State of Israel, the evidence shows Hamas's vast network of underground tunnels which stretch underneath even the hospitals.
Here you can see the IDF soldiers exposing a tunnel opening. This is part of an operation, a ground operation that was conducted on the hospital, then revealed a tunnel that was being used for terror infrastructures in the Qatari hospital. If it wasn't enough, this tunnel, if it wasn't enough, that we expose the tunnel under the hospital, the terrorists also shoot at our soldiers from within the hospital.
So this is what Israel has been doing, from saying that it does not target hospitals. It's now saying that Hamas is hiding underneath the hospitals in Gaza. Now, according to Al Jazeera's digital investigation agency, they have disproved the claims that have been made by the Israeli authorities. They say that in the video that's been released by Israel's military, it shows a hatch in the hospital courtyard right next to an exterior wall that they allege actually led to a Hamas tunnel. This was the Israeli allegation. But according to the investigation that has been done, when analyzed the satellite footage and the archives of the hospital construction, while also speaking to one of the original engineers of the hospital engineers who built it, the opening is simply an access hatch for a water reservoir that the hospital uses. This is not the entrance of a tunnel, but rather the entrance of a water reservoir to fill therapeutic pools for amputees, to water the grounds, and also a reserve water source in case of emergencies. And also the fate of the 31 premature babies had dominated the global headlines, and they've now been transferred from Gaza's main Al-Shifa hospital that was raided by the Israelis, destroying virtually the entire medical infrastructure there. They've now been taken to a hospital in the southern part of Gaza. The fate of these newborn infants at the Al-Shifa hospital had become the focus of global attention after the release of the images showing that the doctors were trying to keep them warm because Israel had cut off electricity, which had meant that incubators had been turned off. So as the outrage grew over the reports of babies dying and a mass grave being dug, Israel indicated its desire to mitigate the crisis, not by ending the siege, but by offering what it said were mobile incubators. However, experts and activists have called out the Israeli claims, saying that the crisis in question is not related to incubators because the Gazan hospitals already had incubators. This has got to do more with the fuel that has been cut off for the hospitals in Gaza. Now remember, for over 46 days now, Israel has cut off fuel supplies in the Gaza Strip. This means that there is no power in many of these hospitals because the fuel has run dry. This has therefore placed the lives of babies and patients at risk, even inside of hospitals, which Israel has been bombing as well. Seeing the situation unfold in West Asia, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that the world is witnessing an unparalleled and an unprecedented level of civilian killings compared to any other conflict since the time Antonio Guterres took charge as the head of the United Nations.
Gaza is becoming a graveyard for children. Hundreds of girls and boys are reportedly being killed or injured every day. More journalists have reportedly been killed over a 4-week period than in any conflict in at least 3 decades. More United Nations aid workers have been killed than in any comparable period in the history of our organization. I salute all those who continue their life-saving work despite the overwhelming challenges and risks.
Now, the United Nations chief has time and again reiterated his appeal for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza.
The protection of civilians is paramount. The laws of war establish clear rules to protect human life and respect humanitarian concerns. Those laws cannot be contorted for the sake of expedience. The world is witnessing a humanitarian catastrophe taking place before our eyes. More than 2 million people with nowhere safe to go are being denied the essentials for life: food, water, shelter, and medical care, while being subjected to relentless bombardment.
The United Nations chief has also said that it is important to note that the attack carried out by Hamas on the 7th of October did not happen in a vacuum, but was actually the result of an crippling occupation of the Palestinian territories by the State of Israel.
It's important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation. They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. Their hopes for a political solution to their plight have been vanishing. But the grievances of the Palestinian people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas, and those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people.
All right, now to give us more insights in terms of what is happening at this moment in the Gaza Strip, we're being joined by a war correspondent and also a security analyst, Mohammed Najib, is joining us live from Ramallah at this point of time. Mr. Najib, this is a pretty difficult situation that is unfolding at this moment in the Gaza Strip. Now, the Hamas chief has said that they are pretty close to striking a deal, a truce with the Israelis. What are you picking up at your end about the possibility of a truce that Hamas claims it is pretty close to?
Yes, yesterday evening, Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas political bureau chief, said that the Hamas had sent its response to the Qataris regarding the truce they talk about, and they are waiting for the Qataris to declare the issue. And later, Azzat Rashid, Hamas political member, said that they are close to reach a truce and prisoners swap between Hamas and Israel. He said that it works according to Hamas conditions, and it includes the free of 70 Israeli civilians, women and children, and Israel has also to free 300 Palestinian prisoners of women and children, and it will be 5 days of a truce ceasefire in Gaza,
right,
whereas Hamas and can collect the other hostages and turn them to the Israeli authorities through mediators.
Right. It's interesting that you're giving us these very specific details, of the possibility of a truce and also the precise clauses of what has been discussed. But what are the Israelis saying about this? Are they willing for a ceasefire for a period of 5 days, as you put it?
If you mean the Israeli leadership, Netanyahu and the defense, no, their priority is to destroy Hamas and to destroy Gaza Strip. But in the recent days, the families of those prisoners in Gaza demonstrated, protested in Israel and Tel Aviv, marched to Jerusalem and set up tents in front of the Ministry of Defense and raised their voice and calling to the Israeli decision makers that the priority is to free their sons and their relatives, not to destroy Hamas and destroy Gaza. And they said, let them take all of the Palestinian prisoners from the Israeli jails and bring us our sons and our relatives from there. So the Israeli government, it wasn't an option. It came under pressure from the Israeli public against them, and it became a big issue. So the Israeli government convened and met and decided to go ahead with the truce and with the deal.
Right. Now, in the last 24 hours, the developments that have taken place, Jordan has reported that it has been able to successfully, establish a field hospital at the Rafah border crossing, and also representatives of the Red Cross are meeting with the Hamas representatives in Doha. Does it indicate that the two sides in this are moving closer to some kind of a resolution, and could we expect that there could be a thaw in the fighting that is being witnessed?
Since this early morning, right now, all the news, Arabic, Israeli news, Palestinian news, everything, social media, everything, the big news now is about the prisoners' web. And this will be also a victory for Hamas and also a good achievement for the Israeli families. And yes, I see a lot of details, but I can't talk about it before it gets confirmed. But Qatar is going in the coming hours expectedly to declare the final agreement about this deal and the details of that deal. Even some details leaked through the media, but no one can confirm whether it's true or accurate or not yet. But we are closer than any time before and hopeful than any time before to reach this prisoner swap between Hamas and Israel.
Absolutely indeed, Mr. Najib. Thank you very much indeed for joining us and getting us those insights from Ramallah in the occupied Palestinian territories there.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.